All right, welcome everybody. This is the Senlin project update. My name is Doug Truong, and this is Jude Cross. And so let's start out. Let's start by talking about what is Senlin for those of you who are not familiar with it. Senlin is a clustering service in OpenStack. And what it does, it allows you to create clusters of objects that can be exposed to other OpenStack services. So the common use case would be you want to create a cluster of VMs, and then you can use that Senlin to scale up or scale down those VMs. Looking at the project background, Senlin has been around since the Metaka release of OpenStack. And in the past Stein release, we had 39 contributors. And we had about 139 individual commits and almost 14,000 lines of code merged. So the major themes for Senlin during the Stein release were really scalability and resiliency. We focused on those two areas because we were trying to eliminate a lot of the bugs that came with scaling to a large scale, and also when we tried to use it at a large scale, we saw a lot of database problems, so we worked on that. So specifically, what we did is we had a few API and policy changes in Stein. We introduced the new health policy version 1.1, which allows you to specify multiple detection types. So what a health policy does is it allows you to specify ways to check a VM if it's alive or not. And in the version 1.1, now you can specify multiple detection types. You can ask Senlin to poll the node, and you can also ask Senlin to poll Nova for the status at the same time. And one thing that is important to note is that the version 1.1 is incompatible with version 1.0. So I will go into that a little bit later, but they have to be converted over. And the other thing that we did is we modified the APIs to fail asynchronously for the following cases, like action conflict, cooldown in progress, and if a resource is already locked. So previously, when you did like a scale up or scale down for that action call, API call, if there was a conflict with another action, the action would be queued up and retried actually. So now what we do is we fail it right away at API ingest. And another change that we made was to introduce a new API to be able to update the action status. And that's mainly used so you can cancel an ongoing action. Because a lot of times when you were scaling up and it was taking a long time, you might want to be able to cancel it. So we introduced that action. And there were also a few tool changes during the Stein release. We added the upgrade checker. And that one will check if you have any pre-existing health policies version 1.0, and it won't let you upgrade unless you convert those, remove those and convert them. And we also added a new action purge tool that allows you to basically remove certain actions that are greater than a set number of days. And that's important for operators because the action table would grow unbounded. And without this, you would end up with a really large action table, and some of the APIs would take a long time to return.
To go over some of the performance improvements that we had in Stein, performance improvements in Stein, to kind of elaborate on some of those like really slow returning actions. We fixed some of the major performance bugs by improving the way that Senlin interacted with the database, meaning that some of the models were really inefficient, or some of the queries were really inefficient with the way that they joined, essentially. So we reduced that. We made them more scoped to what the exact data that they should be able to pull. So we basically reworked all of that code, which made a lot of the databases a lot faster when retrieving data on actions or clusters. Reduced some of the action list, on like really large action lists to like 1,000% faster. Updated the database models and added relationships for a lot of things so that the joins would actually work. properly. We removed unnecessary database calls that were using those joins instead, which was part of the way that the object would be constructed when you would do like a action list or whatever. It was in Python. It was just querying the database over and over again, rather than it just being a join that just grabs everything all at once. So by removing that, we made it a lot faster. The API was able to actually like return rather than just timing out. So it's a major improvement.
And let's see. Oh, before I go into that slide, looking forward in the train release, I suppose, some of the things that people are working on is multiple load balancer policies. That's a use case that came up by one of the operators, and they're trying to implement that in the current upcoming cycle. And because right now, Senlin only allows you to attach a single load balancer policy to a cluster. So multiple load balancer policies are not allowed. But one of the changes that are upstream right now in the process of, I guess, being reviewed is that change. And are there any other changes that you're aware of that are being worked on?
Nothing off the top of my head.
I think there's a few bugs also with the load balancer policy that people submitted, so I think we're looking at that as well. And then, of course, if you want to provide more feedback, if you're a Senlin operator or you have any more questions about how to use Senlin, you can report bugs, or you can reach out to us on the OpenStack Discuss mailing list. And we're also both active on the Senlin channel, IRC channel, and our IRC nicknames were posted in the beginning of the slideshow. And then we have a few other sessions coming up. We have the auto scaling SIG is meeting actually right after this, I think upstairs. And that's also a discussion with the Heat team and everybody else who is doing auto scaling and kind of get their feedback. So if you have any input, please come and provide it. And then we'll have a project onboarding session tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And that's for any new contributors that would like to get started with Senlin and see what they can work on. So if you're interested, please show up. And we'll also have another talk tomorrow morning at 10:50 to talk about the use case at Blizzard Entertainment, how we are using Senlin in autoscaling. And again, if you want to contribute, we can definitely use help with code reviews. And also, we definitely need help with implementing community goals, because those are things that anybody can jump in and tackle. And documentation is another area that we could use help with. And integration tests is also an area. I mean, we have a few integration tests right now that run with Tempest, but I think we could always use more and improve on that.
Major help there. We could use some major help.
And here are a few links. We have the release notes for Stein. We have the Launchpad where you can submit blueprints and bugs. And we have a wiki page, which has additional information. That's all I have. Are there any questions?
How have you managed to keep a good, active community? 39 contributors is pretty good.
I mean, honestly, we don't really do much in terms of, it's up to other people who want to join. So 39 contributors, I'm not sure how many big changes or small changes. I mean, I don't know the distribution exactly, but it is, some people are at least interested in contributing, so that's good.
I'm sure a large portion of that are those like drive-by, single commit. But at least, there's a few of us that have been active that are highly active at least, so.
But we're trying to get more, so that's why we are having the onboarding session tomorrow.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, if there's no other questions, thank you for attending.